Our project is located in Edmonton, Canada, which, like many North American cities, contains two extremes. From high-density housing in the city center to single-family sprawl in the suburbs, our project addresses this missing middle by acknowledging the lack of a middle ground between these two opposing conditions.
Our thesis, Missing Middle, is a new multi-family housing typology which addresses the edge condition between the dense city centers and sprawling suburbs. As an urban proposal, we imagine our thesis can populate these different edge conditions around the city and create a more socially connected communities. We have selected one of these sites to develop our project. Seen here, this edge condition is the one of the sites for our project. The design of this new housing type references domestic vernacular buildings as its starting point, and through a series of transformation, begin to break away from conventional domestic adjacencies to create new living conditions. We've selected 4 single-family houses, which are adjacent to our site as a starting point. Using the form of these houses as a starting point, we began to transform and recombine them into new building forms.
We then introduced a new set of circulations from corridors to stairs connecting these units to a set of communal programs, such as kitchens, workspaces, and restrooms. By intertwining these spaces through shared circulation, many programs can be used by multiple families, creating new typologies of interdependent living. To explain more about circulations, we have introduced several different types of circulations in our project. They are embedded between units and sometimes splitting them apart, in order to create shared programs with other dwelling units. The role of circulation has become so critically important because we live in a world which prioritizes digital connectivity over the physical. These entangled circulations inject social interaction in an increasingly isolated society.
Using the transformed single-family houses and entangle them with new circulation types, we designed a series of basic dwelling units that can be combined with each other to create different scale housing types on the site. The basic dwelling units are the micro dwelling units, communal dwelling units, intertwined dwelling units, life work dwelling units.
The largest housing type located on the site is the megaplex. It consists of 11 different units that are assembled into a collective building. Each unit is reassembled through a transformed single-family precedent and interconnected by the new entangled circulations. On this site, we have designed various scale buildings from 4 single-family houses, 2 duplex, and a megaplex. The plan shows many outdoor void spaces in between these dwelling units. It is hard to differentiate the plan of the megaplex from other buildings. On the right side of the upper floor plan, you will see how the dwelling units become an entangled megaplex. In the upper floor plan, you will see how the entangled circulation not only divides the units, but also connects multiple units together. Part of the exterior circulation becomes enclosed, and one can move smoothly between interior and exterior program, as well as on top of units below.
In this sectional axon, you begin to see the spatial qualities of this building and how the circulation create new social spaces between units in plan and in section. A closer look shows a very dynamic relationship between the units and its circulation, as well as the sectional and spatial qualities of the units.
From the facade, you begin to see how these dwelling units, the entangled circulation, as well as partial exterior void spaces are assembled to become a single building. The circulation playfully connects different families together from different parts of the building, while also creating social void spaces between units. We imagine that these void spaces are partially covered to provide shelter from the extreme weather in Edmonton. These circulation also connect different buildings together to address the initial problem of the disconnected neighborhood within the city. The megaplex becomes a social hub, which is a mini city within itself.
The missing middle has a diptych of two opposite sides. One side faces the high-density city side,
while the other side is adjacent to the single-family suburbs. This diptych creates a dynamic juxtaposition of the middle ground by using local vernacular part-to-whole relationships to address the scale of two opposing sides in different ways. The missing middle takes the vernacular of the existing site, deconstructs familiar forms, and adds a playful patterning onto these newly reassembled units in order to maintain the domestic scale in a larger building. This loose assembly of units creates a new collective way of living, an entangled social relationship in a time where digital connectivity seems to triumph over the physical, in a time where we need to be inspired by our own space of dwelling.
Here is a few of our spatial model studies. This is a sectional model of our duplex units. We begin to explore the relationship of these entangled units that begin to intertwine and entangle through circulation. Here is our megaplex model and one adjacent single-family transformed house. You can see the use of the entangled circulation flows through the void spaces will also carve into both ground the massing. The Spanish staff wraps around the exterior to create a public space, while there is also pockets of public space within the void spaces of the megaplex between units.